All right. And we are live. The last word. LordCognito, Ebontis, Ty Guy Travis on that Thursday evening. Thought it was going to be a light kind of campfire. But we got things to talk about.
Just a couple.
Yeah. The cheetah. How are we doing, sir?
Doing very good. Absolutely massive TWAB, which we will dive into, and may actually have a little guest chat here a little bit later on. So gotta get somebody in here who has the big PvP knowledge besides us. But yeah, I went 6 days straight on God of War and
Ooh.
loved it. Working on the kind of 100% checkboxes now, kind of doing some of that stuff. Internet was down for like 6 hours yesterday, so some of that was offline, but yeah, it was pretty much all God of War since the last podcast, and then basically this week has been solo Glassway Grandmaster attempts, which is a bit of a nightmare in the boss room, so I don't know if I'll get that done or not. But it's like that whole thing is just, it's a mess. Like the overloads come in, if the little Hydra comes roaming around, it gets messy in a hurry if you're by yourself, because it takes about 2 shots to delete you, so... That's been some of it. Travis, what about you? I know you're always busy, so what has kept you occupied?
Yeah. Well, obviously, I haven't played much more of God of War Ragnarok or any of the other major releases this week because I am working on the most important game of the year, Goat Simulator 3, which, as we all know, is goated.
Goated.
I mean,
literally.
Yeah.
And my review went live yesterday. Yesterday, the written review went live today, and I think the video went live today. I haven't tweeted it out yet. I was waiting for the video to get done. But anyway, I've been playing a lot of Goat Simulator. Yeah, and working on reviews, man. It's a busyness is going to slow down, I assume, but it's been a busy fall for us on the reviews team.
I feel like you're going to get about 3 weeks after, because Callisto is in December, Midnight Suns is in December, which is kind of getting first impressions.
Which means we're reviewing it now.
Right.
Or soon, next week.
But I was like, end of year. And then kind of late January is when it begins. So you guys will get, and then I'm sure your reviews might start a little bit before that. So yeah, about 3 or 4 weeks, kind of like the Bungie break that they get. You guys will get a chance to breathe, hopefully.
So typically during that period of time, because I don't have any family or loved ones, I catch up on all the games that I didn't get to play because I was reviewing. So I'll probably finish God of War, go back and play Immortality, and some of the other games I didn't get to.
I've been hearing about that one.
Yeah, Immortality's it's on my list. I also need to play Pentiment because I love Josh Sawyer and I'm a big visual novel guy and I love history. That game, I didn't really care. I didn't really care if other people were going to like that game because I knew I was going to like it because it's like tailor-made for me. But seeing the reception universally lauded, I'm pretty excited to play it. So I've not even started that one. It's on the list. Actually, weirdly, in my free time, I've been going back to Grounded because I can't stop playing that damn game. I don't know why. It's so damn good. It's so damn good. So anyway.
Very nice.
Well, how about you, Cog? What are you up to?
Well, a couple days ago, I can tell you it was happy birthday to Cog.
Yeah, Cog.
Makes another lap around the sun. 15th, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, the 55th.
55th birthday.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised because it's really hard to tell the age of black people.
Yeah,
if you said you were 55, I'd be like, that checks out. Yeah, we don't know.
I ain't 55,
sure.
But I'm preparing. Oh, no,
preparing for 55.
Yeah, I'm prepared. But no, man, it was good. It was good. I took this week off work. I needed it to kind of decompress, recharge a little bit. Just completely game, do things with family a little bit. And yeah, man, it was fun. It's fun. I've been rocking the game you've been mentioning, Pentiment. And actually, Somerville and Pentiment came out the same day on my birthday.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right. Now I'm a huge Inside guy. I'm a huge Limbo guy. So my heart went to Somerville first. And Somerville, fire. Don't get me wrong. Great. Kind of like you don't know what's going on. The game doesn't hold your hand. Kind of like this cataclysm.
Not quite its predecessor.
I'm gonna tell you what my issue is. My issue is the game fits the bill of the style I like. It's just that like Trek to Yomi had the going forward, going back kind of thing going on, as well as the 2D. They have that, but it's not implemented well. So you don't. I think a lot of the times the puzzles don't feel earned, and I'm like, I didn't know I can actually do that, or there's like these invisible walls that prevent me from interacting with certain things. So there's little technical issues with the way the game wants you to solve things, but the game itself is good. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's really, you're gonna like it. Like I said, it was a couple puzzles I solved. I'm like, yeah, I didn't do a good job of kind of, not that you're supposed to hold my hand, but that wasn't really.
Yeah, I got the same impression. I got the same impression from ACG. Checked his review out just to kind of get an idea, and that's kind of what he said. It was like, I saw it kind of getting somewhere in the 7s. Yeah. And with that and kind of what you're saying, and there were times it's like accidentally solved a puzzle or didn't know this could, or you think it could interact and it doesn't. It's like the things in Inside and Limbo were still had to figure them out.
Right.
But there was no, when it clicked, you got it. Like there was no question, no easy. It was like.
Exactly.
So it's just the vague or not quite as clear nature. It's like it wasn't quite as polished as the other two, because the other two are just very refined.
It's a slight little polished thing, but I do like the family aspect. You got a husband and wife, they got a baby, they got a dog, and like you can interact with them a little bit. So that was that. So I started with that, and I'm like, all right, let me at least try to get the Pentiment, because surprise, I'm gonna give y'all that last word exclusive. I wanted to really get going on Pentiment because I knew me and Maddie had secured a Josh Sawyer interview. So I'm like, we got Sawyer, the legend. I have to blaze.
He's a very talented writer.
And you better know what you talk about when you got Josh Sawyer in the room. He's like arguably the smartest man in the room most of the time, especially with history and all that stuff. So I started Pentiment, and I ain't gonna lie, Trav, at first, the first 30 minutes, I'm like, I don't know if I could do this, man. This thing felt like a Bible text. Like I was really going through the history museum. I'm like, I don't know, but I'm not gonna front. When the first murder happens, from that point on, the game sinks its hooks into you like none other. Then the time period, the way people live their lives. He has this glossary thing where anything you don't understand, or people, because there's so many characters. They may talk about it, be like, they put something in text, like, Travis, right? I'm like, I don't know who Travis. I remember I talked to 1,000 times. People. Then you press the select button. The word will be highlighted. Travis will be highlighted, right? You hit the select button. Then it'll show you your little portrait, little Travis face. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. That's Travis. Okay, so they do stuff to really help you out, and it's really like a page coming off the book. The thing about the medieval part, Martin Luther, there's a lot going on. The coolest thing about the game is that like you have like a day-night cycle and all this stuff, and like what's cool is you're living like in the time period of these people. So they do their little holy, their amens and all that, but you eat with the people, and you have your little, like, you see the difference between the peasants and the aristocracy. Yo, bro, I'm not gonna front. This game then turned into Disco Elysium vibe.
Hell yeah. That's what I was hoping. It'd be something like
better.
that.
Now, Disco Elysium, the thing I will give it, Disco Elysium has the voice. The voice is distinct. But I can't, it's the style. The style of it wore on me. I thought I was going to hate it. I'm like, so I'm in Act 2. It's 3 acts. It's extremely well done. And I highly advise for people to try it. Just because the first 30 minutes, you're going to be like, I don't know if I can do this, bro.
I will. I love visual novels, so I won't mind.
Get to the first murder, and if that point you don't like it, then it's never going to be for you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what I would say. So I've been doing that. I would say shout out to Ducky and shout out to E. Got me my hit me. Everybody hit me up like, yo, bro, you better get in that GM. You better get in there, because they giving out golf balls, they giving out everything like candy, double rewards. Shout out to Ducky, shout out to everybody that was in there, and we was rocking out. And actually tried the Discord integration on Xbox for the first time. Absolutely excellent. Was able to go in through console, no phone app, went straight to lordsofgaming.net Discord server. Up in the voice chat, E saw it, told him where it's at. He jumped in from PC. This is going to help cross-play tremendously for Xbox guys who want to play with PC guys on the clan. Absolutely amazing. And that's pretty much, it's been Somerville. It's been all Pentiment now. Like I go for some of those in the bushes until I'm finished with Pentiment, and then
Yeah.
and then so Trav, you're gonna be so into it. You're gonna love it, bro. It's really good.
That's what I hear. Yeah. Also, our reviewer at IGN, Leanna, somebody I really trust. She just
she gave it a 10, right?
A 10.
She gave it a 10. Yeah. She I think ranks things higher than I would a lot of the time, but I really trust if you read the text of her reviews, she's just always on point with kind of the stuff that she cares about.
Yeah.
She forgives bad combat a little too much. That's my one.
Well, there's no combat here.
Yeah,
It's puzzles.
I'm talking about the last game she reviewed. I think was Scorn, and E was not happy with her review of Scorn.
Yeah, you weren't here for that. Yeah, I worked through the IGN ratings, read them out, and I was like, it was a 4 or a 5 for me. It was not good.
I feel you. E, I think you're gonna like this, man. But I don't know if you played Disco Elysium.
I haven't got to that one. I know everybody's so raved about that one. So if you were gonna say,
do you like visual novels? Have you ever played a visual novel?
Not really.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't think you've ever played the genre.
Not really. Yeah, genre. I tend to try.
I mean, if you haven't played like the goats, like Ace Attorney and Danganronpa.
Yeah, dang it. Yep. See, Maddie got me in that pocket. I was in that pocket before Maddie, but I was gonna. You was about to ask me. You was gonna ask me a question? E, like, is it?
If I was gonna play like Disco Elysium or Pentiment first, which would you recommend?
Good one.
Because those are two.
Do you like comedy games?
See, I ended. In fairness to Disco, I ended Disco. So I got the full scope. I got to see how Pentiment plays out in the final act. I'm in the middle of the second act.
I was like, I got time, so you'll finish it before I get to either of them. So
Disco is like, bro.
I've heard great things about Disco. Yeah.
From the first hour of Act 1, Pentiment is right here. Like Pentiment is really, it's doing some things that Disco doesn't do. But it has skill checks. The things you're gonna like is traditional RPG mechanic. One thing about Pentiment that I like, you could have 4 or 5 choices that may say the same thing, but it's how you talk to people that the game will kind of skill check you, and based on the personality and the meaning of certain characters, that has effect. Like it's a little bit more in depth than Disco in that, whereas Disco has other things that it does well. But it's close. It's close. I just got to finish Pentiment and see. But I would probably go for your first one. I would probably say for you, go Disco first, just so you get a feel of those style of games.
Yeah, that's fair.
Really play it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd heard about it. And then you got the director's cut and other things.
I bet you the reason you've never played any of these games, E, is because they're real bad for streaming. Like
I was like, this would not be a streaming game. This would be something I play on my own if I'm doing like other stuff or whatever. Yeah. So it's like, and that's part of it too. If I do variety and I still am going to stream.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, I can't be like just reading. Gotta have a little more going on. But I mean, that's kind of one of those.
I stream myself reading novels. I don't know if you guys have seen my Twitch.
Oh, I never done that.
It's just me sitting in a cozy chair and I just read the novel, and every once in a while I look up at the camera and I go, haha. And then I go back down.
We getting our Masterpiece Theater on with the fireplace and the jacket. Let's go.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I bet you somebody's already done that. I bet you. All right, today we're going to be doing a playthrough of this book. All right, guys, Great Expectations. Here we go.
Oh God,
just hours of that.
Oh, that's
hours and hours.
I would do that. I would do that.
Well, I was like, we had the Game Awards get announced. I kind of want to pick your guys' brains on that towards the end because we do have a lot to discuss. Mostly because we have a lot to discuss. TWAB dropped massively this week. 6,000 words was not enough for DMG, and we got a lot out of it. So, quick topics for the run through. Trans Awareness Week. So there's an emblem out there. Check that out. ML3 FD4 ND9. Sorry, I almost said that wrong. You got that emblem out there. If you're going to do the Bungie Pride pin, all of that is going to the National Center of Trans Equality. Check that piece out. And of course, Bungie, of course, supporting many, many communities. That's one piece. Another one, community event, improving the Elixir Quarter. This is the community event I had heard about. So this is where next week, in the final 2 weeks of the season, you're going to be getting Captain's Coins, which you can donate towards the Elixir Quarter to help rebuild it. You're going to have personal donations to get emblems, upgrade materials, maybe a new ghost shell. And then Captain's Coins you can get in Destination Chests, Lost Sectors, Public Events, Catch Crash, Expedition, Stairs, King's Fall, Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit. So, not to spend too much on this, but I did want to ask you guys. Last week we got Telesto's weird mystery. Ended up basically being clarified to be nothing more than an emblem and a chance to get a Telesto t-shirt. Mostly what it ended up being. They were toying with the gun.
Called it.
You did.
And then this week we do get the confirmation that the community is going to be gathering X number of currency for a community event to rebuild the Elixni Quarter. Now, the idea of making the Elixni Quarter, giving them a place that's more permanent, give them somewhere to live in the tower so the House of Light actually has a place to technically call home, so they're not just living like all over the tower and just kind of hanging out everywhere. They'll have a home. I'm okay with that. But we do have a gather however many million community coins again, cross over the thresholds as a community, do your however many of the same stuff we've been doing for the rest of the season to get your captain's coins. Just wanted to get your guys' take on that. Are you going to be waiting for the Bungie autocomplete, or will you be playing and participating?
Yeah, this is disappointing. Yeah, so it's basically play the game, please. Yeah. Look, I know the engagement numbers are not the greatest right now. I've been looking at stuff going on with Steam and stuff like that, but yeah, disappointing. You know, again, disappointed a little bit with the which Travis did call as far as the Telesto resolution. Thought it might be a little bit more. You know, they have fun with it, and this is just I was hoping maybe some type of it's a big ask. Something you watch and you see develop like we had with the what is it, the Almighty potentially crashing, kind of thing. So I don't know. Maybe I was expecting something with Nazareth or something, but like, yeah, this is play the game, please. And I'm like, you got to give me reason to play the game right now. Right now, it's really not interesting right now. I'm catching up on other stuff in the meantime. So I will gracefully bow out and wait for the autocomplete. And that's just where I'm
emblem or a ghost shell or a shader or any of those.
Yeah. Nah, like they were better off. You see how you got me to play when you were like, yo, bro, we doing the double GM, the rewards.
Oh, yeah. They just, here's,
yeah. It's just, I've never been a fan of these type of things. So, Trav, your thoughts on the situation?
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to play this.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Fair enough.
You're not enticed? You don't want to do the captain's coins and all the activities?
No, I'm good. I'm chilling.
You're not enthused by this?
I'm good. I'm fine.
Fair enough.
I will dabble just to see how many and what's required, just to probably cover it for a video to see. Like, hey, you can knock this out in an hour. It's going to take you a lot of hours. You got to decide if it's worth it. I got to see how much of a grind it actually is, as it has been partially season of the grind. It definitely feels like it's been, adding up. So it's like one more grind. Hopefully it's not that long. But if you're like, hey, go do a couple of things, get some coins, not too bad, maybe. But if it's like, hey, you got to run 20, 30 things or whatever, nah, that probably won't happen. I would much rather, honestly, just see if I can solo a crazy Grandmaster just for the challenge of doing it, as opposed to going to run another Catch Crash or another Expedition. Now, speaking of the change to the Scallywag title, some people may actually end up going to do that because when you thought you might have been a little farther away, it's actually not as bad. So they're actually changing the requirements for Scallywag. So some people may go do like one more Catch Crash or one more Expedition, because some of us who have our titles already overdid it because they're making it a lot easier. Ruffians are down to 10 instead of 50.
Wow.
The drop vendor, which I think is the star chart, like the upgrades, is down to 14 from 23, but I'm assuming that's 21, I think. The first mates that you need to summon, where once you have the star chart upgraded, you can do the first mates. It was like 15 of each of them or something like that. Now it's like 1 each. And then they changed the seal to be 8 out of 9 triumphs. So yeah. No, I was
How you
like
feel
from
about this.
this, I think is more on the lines of over asking your average player in the first place. I mean, like one of the triumphs, 250 champions. Another one's like emote 150 times after Catch Crasher Expeditions. The 50 ruffians that had like a weird spawning mechanic in the first place. It was all of those pieces together to combine to be, unfortunately, bad feeling triumphs. Because it was just overly grindy and sometimes out of your control. You're like, hey, you needed champions to spawn. If you were efficient and then you didn't get a saboteur to spawn, say in the middle, you theoretically could go through a whole expedition with no champions, and it's not your fault just because you did it fast and you didn't get a saboteur. And the fact that you need ruffians, like how late in the season they changed it to. Yeah, I did see them a little more as I was finishing up the seal, but generally as it was like 10 weeks into the season, a lot of people had checked out. So it's the vendor upgrades, like everything being time gated. All I can say is I know this coming season, it's still going to be star chart upgrades and a 6-man and a 3-man. I expect a very similar season. I'm hoping some of the feedback they started to get for the last couple of seasons, we might see us like a little bit of, look at some of these numbers you're asking the community to do for like season 20, season 21, because yeah, certain triumphs, when you look at them, you're like 250 champions for a triumph. That should never exist, period. Like that is way too many to not ask somebody to be 100% burnout on one thing. You can see those champions in 2 activities, and yet they want you to do 250. It's like, you have to run 50, 60, 70 of one activity, and you're like, even over the course of the season, that's a lot. So that's my thoughts is hopefully they do a little more like, hey, I know you want some player engagement numbers. Yeah, pull that back by about 20, 50, 70% on some of these things because they're a bit drastic. It's like I get the ruffian thing. It's like see him spawn and catch him and stuff was like 10 wouldn't have been as bad because that I would have naturally just sometimes you'll see him. But like 50 or 250 or all that. It was a little too much on everything. That's all.
No, I agree. I just feel for the people who really put in that work to do the old, you know what I'm saying? And then for them to, that can't feel great, especially how late in the game the changes come. So, this is something that keeps coming up with them, where they make these kind of very aggressive high bar things. Then, we get an eventual pullback. But this was like a late pullback. Like this was like, how long? Like, it's been a minute, right?
I mean, the season was 15 weeks, and I think the change even to Ruffians was like week 8, week 9, something like that. And even then, there was one of the week seasonal challenges was like week 10, get 10 more, and it's just like for those people who already grinded it, those are the things, the non-retroactive stuff piles on top of like stuff that's already exhaustive in the first place.
Agreed.
You guys, Cog, Travis, anybody, or did I just beat that to death?
No, you good.
I mean, I think Cog and I probably are not the target audience for these changes since we don't really care about scallywag titles I was never going to do these things, guys. They made them too grindy like 5 seasons ago, and I just was like, nah, I'm good.
Same.
So yeah.
I'm not the target
Good that they're trying though. I would love it if they would trend it in the other direction and make it less grindy and less irritating to get it, because it does feel like engagement is the name of the game, as Cog and I always talk about.
I'm curious. Actually, the person I really want to know about, besides you, is Teddy. How does he feel about it? Teddy's the target audience.
I'm sure he's stoked about it being easier.
Oh, okay.
Gotta be.
I mean, if they make these type of changes in future seasons and they think it through, then sure. If they learn from this, fine. But if they don't, yeah, then Teddy and Scarrows and all of those like completionists are going to be just pulling hair out and going gray. So,
yeah. I mean, Teddy doesn't enjoy Destiny. He doesn't. He told me he plays that he like makes a plan for how to get all of the triumphs with the least amount of game time in Destiny, and then he does not play it as soon as he's done. So it's like at this point he's just like, I don't know why he's doing it. He's a slave. He's a prisoner to his own ambitions. Yeah.
Titles are addicted, man. Which I guess once you get caught up, yeah.
I guess not to me, Jesus.
All right.
Good on you.
So big topic of the TWAB is Crucible. Now, Crucible is getting a lot of changes. Some I am floored on, to be honest with you.
Yes.
We talked about them. We hoped about them. I know Travis is over there. Can't be too excited. What's up?
Anyways, disclaimer before we even start.
What's the disclaimer?
I don't want to brag, but I feel like the last word has some influence on this.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I don't want to brag. I don't want to brag. I mean, listen, I'm not going to disrespect the community. They're great minds. We've had awesome people on at the campfire. But Trav, isn't there a part of you that felt like they had to listen to someone? We've had weeks on weeks. I don't think of any show that's had weeks on weeks of state of PvP, what ranking system, like there's a show that is literally focused on. I don't want to disrespect Firing Range or anybody else that may have been talking about this, but I feel like the last word. I gotta give us our flowers. We've been on this hardcore. We have it when there's not even a subject. Crucible's not even on the subject matter. So I just want to say, I want to get our flowers a little bit for at least maybe a slight influence, a slight listen. But what do you take, Trav? I'll give it back to E to set it up.
I think this was done 100% to satisfy us on this podcast. I think we did this. It's a testament to our clout.
This was the community event.
This was us. This was 100% us.
It's all right. I can feel good about it. Chav said it.
You're welcome.
All right. And the last word and most modest podcast of all of them. Humble and modest. That is our way. Well, guess what, guys?
That's how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
We got a bonus.
We got the shadow. We got the shadow.
Pops in.
Yo,
hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Shadow? What's up, bro? Good to have you.
How's it going?
Doing good. You're the right show, man.
Doing well by doing good.
Yo, E. Prescott said we did a 2-year-long community event for the.
Yeah, that's something.
Salute.
True.
Mm-hmm. I am trying to fix Windows, so
do your thing. Shadow, what's up, man?
Does not have very long. I don't know how long you got. Let us know as we're going through this thing. How your time is.
Yeah, I probably got about an hour at most. I don't know how long you guys normally go.
Oh yeah,
perfect.
That's plenty. I'm
sweet.
Trying to rebuild Windows here. Not the operating system, just the podcast Windows. Okay, we're decent enough. So okay. Now we've got basically first for Crucible the kind of the main things when they get into it outside of the TLDR I'm skipping over. We're just going into each of the pieces. They have goals for each of their playlists, and we're learning some of these playlists are going to change, but we'll get into that. The casual Crucible quick play rotators labs. They say they want you to find a fair game, make friends, and stay as long as you're having fun. Iron Banner, week-long celebration of PvP that draws everyone in. Trials, prove your skill and build against worthy rivals. Ranked play, fair matches is the big bold point first. Measure yourself. Growth you can see and feel. Stakes are always high. And then private matches, of course, just make what you want to make. Now, first thing we've got is playlist updates. So the big one is going to be quick play. 6v6 is both clash and control. So they're putting both of those together. So you get a mix of one objective and then also just like kill, what am I thinking of? Deathmatch, basically. And that is going to use loose skill-based matchmaking. They keep tuning that and kind of working on it. The weekly rotator is going to be 6v6 and free-for-all. So it's going to rotate between momentum control, mayhem, team scorched, rift, and rumble. Purely connection-based only. So that's just kind of your fun, connection, not much skill, matchmaking at least, and just go in there. Competitive division. This is the new addition. This is brand new. It's going to be randomly between survival, rift, and showdown. We'll get into all the details on competitive division, but this is basically a ranked ladder, which is the big shock. Crucible Labs. That one's going to be working on 3v3 Rift on asymmetrical maps. I don't even know how that's going to feel, but it does have a plus 25% reputation booster. They're trying to get people in there. The Crucible Labs is also connection-based only. The directory is going to change. And they say when Trials is active, it will replace Crucible Labs, which will kind of be on the left. Competitive will be dead center. And then on the right, it's going to be Quick Play, which when Iron Banner is up, will be replaced by Iron Banner. So your Quick Play is going to be replaced by Iron Banner. Crucible Labs will be replaced by Trials. Theoretically, I don't know if they're going to still do Iron Banner like exclusive by itself without Trials, but the way the nodes are set up, theoretically, they both could be active, but they may not. That's not clear. And then they kind of go over populations of game modes of like Iron Banner, average population, player time, high. Control, high. Player time, playtime per player, medium. Trials, medium. Player time per player, high. Survival, medium, medium. Mayhem is high, and player time per player, low. So a lot of people play it, but not much. Momentum, similar. Clash is, it varies on the population, but it's low.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much the things that are down in the rotator playlist outside of like Momentum gets a few more people in there, but the stuff in the rotator just doesn't get much. Rumble is actually very low. Showdown, very low. Elimination, medium low. So before we get into the bigger changes, how do you guys feel about the changes to the playlist? And Shadow, you get to go first, sir.
I think it's good to consolidate. I mean, I think we kind of were getting to a place where there's a lot of different modes, and especially with the introduction of new modes, like the new Iron Banner one that's coming out next, and then also we have now Eruption and Rift. It's going to get crowded if we try to put too many on there. So I think it's good to consolidate them, but at the same time, I feel like people will also miss certain modes when they want to play them. Like, for example, Rumble. I've been playing a lot of Rumble this season, and it's going to be in a rotator now, so I'm going to miss not being able to play that in the weeks when it's not around.
Travis, Cog, what about you, gentlemen?
I'll let Travis. I'm here for this. This is what I'm here for. You muted.
You might be muted.
I need premium balls from you. Come on.
Sorry, I muted myself.
There we go.
I'm sniffly today. Yeah, so this is necessary, I think. It's we've talked about for a long time about player base and how much of Crucible is sacrificed by lack of player base, and it's not typical for games to have a game mode be its own playlist. It's usually they're bucketed into different types of play. So yeah, I get it. You're not going to be able to play Rumble whenever you want. I'm sure that's going to affect some people's lives, especially our guest from last show. Yeah, but I don't care. I don't think that that's the way most players play Destiny or engage in Crucible. And I think you should make it, if you want to introduce skill-based matchmaking, you need player counts. You need it. You have to have a wide breadth of players. You've got to make those lobbies feel balanced. And you can't do that if you've got, 12 different Crucible playlists, whatever it is they have now. I think you have to consolidate. So I'm glad they're doing it. And it's very clear once you get to the other changes why they're doing this. It makes sense.
Cog, where you at?
Yeah, this is overall good, overall positive. Consolidation needs to happen. There's just too many playlists. I was surprised to actually see that happen. And to Shadow's point, though, obviously, we had Lego on, and there's a couple people that obviously want to play Rumble, one-on-one modes, and things like that. But correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there still a chance for one of those to be part of the rotator thing?
For what?
So how they? Yeah, the weekly rotator.
Yeah, the weekly rotator can be Momentum Control, Mayhem, Team Scorch, Rift, Rumble. But I mean, if that's what's in there, and at some point they got to put Eruption somewhere, which is not mentioned here, I'm just going to say that now. Eruption is actually, I think, liked by a lot of people that I see on Twitter. It feels good. So you have to assume that's got to land somewhere, maybe back in a rotation in Iron Banner. But if that just falls off for another 3 months, that'll be kind of sad. That might rotate in there too. But again, if it's 5 or 6, if you like Rumble, you get to play it twice, maybe 3 times in a season.
Right.
That's not a lot.
It's all private matches, homie. Make a private match playlist. That's all I gotta say.
Just for the people.
It's not how that doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's minor, but
it does.
Yeah.
You actually have to have people to bring into that. It's not match made private. That's the whole point of Rumble.
You can. I mean, neither is raids, but people still LFG for that.
You can't just constantly find new people to play against for Rumble. That's not how that's going to work.
You can put a lobby together on LFG.
It's a lot of work.
Okay, this is a losing argument, but anyway.
I don't care. It's a bad game mode and it shouldn't be in the game. It's dragging the Crucible down.
Shadow, can you help me here? Can you talk some sense into him?
Who cares?
Please?
The Rumble community is upset with you.
Rumble's
Travis.
like one of the best
I don't
places to
care.
work on your 1v1s, honestly. Like, I know that sounds kind of weird coming from me, but the few times I do jump into Rumble, I actually have to play. I can play in a different way. And that actually does help the average person if they get a chance
have
to.
fun playing in a different way 3 times a month or 3 times a season and in private matches.
I'm not saying I'm broken by this. I'm just saying private matches is not a replacement for Rumble. That doesn't even...
Sure it is.
No, it's not.
Go. Put the LFG in the game and then you can do that.
Oh, now you're really asking for that.
Why not?
It's literally just putting the node back on the screen. That's all that's doing.
No, it's not. It's called private matches.
Private matches with matchmaking?
No, private matches with LFG. They're putting LFG in the game.
All I'm going to say is that if private
hasn't
matches
that been on the roadmap forever?
That's
if private matches were a good substitute, then people would just already do that. But people don't. They queue Rumble.
People don't do it because it's available as a playlist.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's preferable. It's preferable to organizing something by yourself.
If you don't care about the health of the Crucible landscape in Destiny.
Honestly, what I would have liked to have seen is on kind of, you could have it in a rotator, but to make everybody think a little differently. Personally, I wish quick play every so often was Rumble. Not a high level of like 40%, like 50% control, 40% clash, maybe like 10% Rumble, just to get it to be like, hey, you're going Rumble. Every so often you got to do like free for all. That would just mix it up a little bit in there.
Yeah,
12v12 Rumble, or 12
Not
people.
I
Rumble,
mean, just 6-person Rumble. That's it. 6-person doesn't have to be crazy, but like every so often, just grab 6 people, make a Rumble match, and then most things are control or clash. I think that would help the average person actually a little bit, but that's just me.
Yeah, the only thing I was curious about was the decision. I don't know. I guess the verbiage of quick play having skill based seems weird to me a little bit, even though they say it's loose based.
I mean, so, we beat this horse a few times.
You guys know my opinions of skill based matchmaking.
Like if it's the loose, like outlier protection, as we've talked about, and then they actually talk about dynamic skill-based matchmaking for high skill to help them with connections and low populations. If all of those things eventually get in there, theoretically, if it's loose enough that connections are still reasonable, but yeah, people don't need to get smashed on either end of the bell curve.
I know why I'm confused. I think because the weekly rotator is actually using connection-based matchmaking, right? The 6v6, whatever. So I guess I'm trying to see what the purpose of quick play is as opposed to the weekly rotator, aside from the different game modes that it possesses.
The way I read this, and again, feel free to correct me, the way I read this is Clash and Control, your 2 most popular modes. Right. Team Deathmatch and one objective. Pretty simple. Very popular playlists. And when you go in there, they want people to have a reasonable experience. For the mass chunk of the bell curve, the Shadows of the world and the Legos and the crazy PvP people, they are trying to make that better. But right now, when it's low population, 2:30 in the morning, and you get paired up with like Ascendant Nomad in Dubai, that's going to be a really crappy game. That's the stuff they have got to work on. But they want the protection. They want the average person to have a decent experience in there, is my guess.
I get it. Now I understand my confusion. Because for the people who want connection-based matchmaking, the modes they want to play are not in the weekly rotator because it's momentum control, mayhem. Those are like the exotic kind of, fun modes, as opposed to, I was surprised that Clash and Control don't even go into there. Remember, I'm a skill-based matchmaking guy, but I just thought that was an interesting decision on that. Go ahead, Travis.
Because the weekly rotator are game modes where skill probably matters a lot less. Like it doesn't Team Scorch. You're not gonna. Yeah. Oh well, I'm on the top of the PvP charts in Team Scorch, so I'm gonna get in there with my sweaty. And by the way,
party
it's not
mode just for fun.
Yeah, basically.
Right. Yeah,
it's why no Clash and Control in there as well? Why not just put everything in there?
Because then people would just play on that playlist if they want to raffle stomp noobs, and that's why you don't put it on the.
It's a purpose decision.
I'm. By the way, the main playlists, the quick play is not going to not have connection based matchmaking. It's just going to be one of the factors. They listed 4 factors in their playlist, and skill is one of them. So it's not that they're not doing it. It's just that it's not the only thing. And I think I'm sympathetic to people who like Rumble and it's not going to be there. Sucks. You have other options.
You don't sound sympathetic.
It's because I actually don't give a shit, and I'm
I know.
I know. I'm sympathetic, as in I'm sorry for your loss, but also he was 80 years old and needed to die. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm at. I'm at the funeral going, dude. He lived to 80. Who gives a shit? That's where I'm at. So, I look. All of the stuff that they're doing is for the health
till the episode after Lego was on here. I see where that's all about.
I'm like, where was this when Lego was here?
Yeah, seriously.
Well, because we weren't talking about the death of Rumble. It hadn't been announced yet. You know what I mean? Like, bring Lego on. Bring Lego on. I'll tell him, hey, man, you had your time in the sun. Now it's time to put you in your grave, boomer. Sorry. This is the circle of life. But all the decisions they're making are for the health of the Crucible sandbox. So either get on the board and agree that we need to fix this, or shut the hell up. That's what I've got to say. Like, honestly, I get that you like Rumble. It's dividing the playlist further. This is everything they're doing is best practices. All right. Playlists should have skill-based matchmaking of some kind, period. It's an industry standard. Every game does it. All right. It should have as few playlists as possible to keep the player base strong. They're doing that. We've been asking them to do that for 100 episodes of the show. All of the stuff, they're finally adding rank system to Crucible. All of this stuff is for the health of the sandbox. You can see it plain as day. And so to bemoan things like, oh, Rumble's going to go away, you only get to play it 3 times a season, I'm sympathetic to that, but I do not care because they're making the better decision. This is the better decision for everyone, whether you like it or not. Players of Destiny, gamers in general, are famously not game designers and extremely stupid. They don't know what's good for them. All right. So Bungie's telling you to take your medicine and just swallow it. All right. You don't need to know how it works. Just trust your doctor. Trust your doctor. That's all I have to say. It's for the best.
Shout out to the people who love Rumble, and my condolences to those guys.
Yeah. I was like,
hey, I'm with you. Condolences. I'm with you.
Yes, those are such heartfelt condolences, but
hey,
for the greater good. He's right for the greater good. It just,
it's like I get for the population, for the numbers, the consolidation.
To those who do play those modes exclusively, but I understand his point for the greater good. Absolutely, we all talked about consolidation has to happen. There's way too many playlists going on. I just thought it was interesting, like he said, that the weekly rotator didn't have Control and Clash, the popular ones. I was like, oh, okay. Those are not connection based. They made a very apparent decision. Again, Shadow, I'm sorry.
It doesn't really, in my opinion, it wouldn't make sense to have weeks where there's quick play and then there's also Control, or Clash, because then it's like the same mode in 2 different places, like why? So it makes sense to me that it's not in the rotator because it is in quick play, which is always going to be around. I mean,
I know what it is.
Voice of reason. Thank you.
No, he's right. I know what it is though, because I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm thinking for the connection-based matchmaking guy, right? So he gets the TWAB. He's like, but I don't want to play Team Scorch, and I don't want to play Rift, and I don't want to play Rock. You see what I'm saying?
You don't get to stomp on people in Control and quick play. It's like that's the other side.
And you're right, Eve. All of us here for almost are okay with this. I'm just trying to put myself in the mindset of that person who they are. There are a lot of connection-based matchmaking guys that I want to know
sitting here.
How they receive this. That's all. Okay, continue. I just wanted to get that off.
We'll get some more of that in a minute. Changes are coming.
And I'd like to reiterate, connection isn't going anywhere. They're still going to prioritize better connections. It's right there in the TWAB.
Yeah, I mean,
loose skill.
Connection is always going to be a thing that they look at when matching players. I mean, otherwise it would the game would just go to shit,
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no other way of saying it. If you add in more factors, that's going to deprioritize connection. So,
Not wrong.
And I think connection is appropriately though one of the factors.
Of course,
if you're
gonna
100%. What makes a good match? Skill.
We get it.
Connection.
We get it.
You know what I mean? All these things are.
Yeah.
They should take them all into account. It's just very myopic to say connection's the end all be all. That's what I think.
You know how these dudes be thinking.
Anywho, so Shax is getting an update, kind of a vendor update like the rest of them. where you'll be able to focus engrams. This is kind of the first look at some of the more legacy-focused engrams, so it's going to be... Theoretically, they're just the focus decoding might actually start building out a bigger arsenal that you can go after, especially with sunsetting not being around. A nice quality of life thing that they're doing, the little engrams like right now in Gambit that you earn or trials, you got to pull the engram into your inventory and then spin that engram when you focus. Now, if you just have like held engrams, you can just go directly to the thing you're going to focus on and just pick it. So it's just a little quality of life system. Yeah, just straight turn them in, straight from like your saved engrams, which is just a nice quality. That way, if you're full on engrams, you can still use your vendor stuff if you want to or whatever. I will say, though, I do have a question. Whether it be Gambit, Crucible, and we know Zavala is going to get this treatment probably in Season 20, and he's probably the last one since there's like Grandmasters and Nightfalls and other things. He's probably getting the last update for a reason. Why is the armor in there? I want to know somebody who actually focuses an engram into that armor, because you know it's trash. Like, you know it's actually going to suck. Like, I just don't understand why it's there. Like, sure, like if you play Crucible matches, hey, sometimes I get, you know, a piece of armor, and then that way you could go and look it for Crucible if you really want that certain helm. Fine. I don't know of a person who could and if they did, they're probably wasting their engram on it. So it just feels weird that armor's actually even there. Like, you should unlock the set and maybe get ornaments or something, but outside of that, the armor's not going to do anything. So just random.
You talking about the Iron Banner armor?
No.
About that.
Just like Crucible armor that you could focus an engram to through shacks. Like, you would spin an engram to do armor, not a weapon. Even though that armor is going to have like a 52 stat roll. It's just...
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I'm with you, bruh.
Anyway, sorry, random. But the quality of life change with the engrams, this is good. Iron Banner Fortress. We are actually going to be getting another game mode going into Iron Banner, and that is going to be Fortress. It's going to be similar to Zone Control, but it seems like we've got a bit of a twist, because you're going to have Zone Control, but the fun begins when Caiatl gets there, and you also got a picture of...
Involved, right?
What?
Gets involved was the language, or was it gets there?
Caiatl gets involved.
Okay, yeah.
And experience firsthand on January 3rd, so you got about 4 weeks after the season. But it looks like you've got guardians that have like electricity on them, which could just be a nice photo. But you have little turrets sitting on the control point. So I don't know if when you capture all three, all of a sudden you've got turrets. And they also say, let's just say a few of you may be dying to cap a hill, which has got to be some type of hint to King of the Hill, I would imagine. So I wanted to kind of get your takes on what you think the twists on this could be. Shadow, of course, you get dibs.
I don't know. It's really, they've left it really up in the air. Can't really say exactly what it's going to be, but if I had to take a wild guess, I don't know, maybe you cap the zone, and then the longer you hold it, it spawns turrets and you try to defend it or something like that. I have no idea.
I think we can all agree that if it's a PvE, PvP mode, like if you have to hold the zone away from like ads, and it's not under the Gambit playlist, we can all riot, right? If it's actually
it's not going to have like actual ads in there. That would not be in Crucible.
I would be very surprised if they did that.
Little scions running around.
It's like I think that's a reach.
I wouldn't be opposed to a mode like that, but you gotta put it under Gambit. If they introduce any PvP, PvE hybrids that aren't under the Gambit tab, I'm gonna lose my shit. I swear, Bungie.
That's fair. If there's anything kind of Gambit PvE, PvE related, yeah, totally get that's where it goes. This does not feel like that, but I get what you're saying. If it ever comes in, put something else in that barren directory screen, please.
Oh yeah, they starve it over there. Set up a cracker. Set up something. You know,
and not just PvE modes like you did when you introduced.
Oh, Reckoning? Yeah, that belongs anywhere else.
Yes,
that belongs under the Vanguard tab. We can all agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a little fun, little thematic change. Those turrets be tearing stuff up, man. So like if you know B or C is out far and they you know something happens to initiate the turret, it'll be interesting. Get some sniper play, whatever. It's to me it's a lore play on what has happened.
Practice forts and all that.
Yeah. And I don't mind it. You know what I'm saying? To me, it reminds me like of when, you know, Saladin actually took over Iron Banner. Like it thematically, it felt different now. Now we're getting some separation. This is cool. We know the Caiatl thing, but you know, I'm not opposed. I don't think it's going to change it too much.
As for rewards, they're looking at auto rifles and slug shotguns. So if you look back through just the history of Iron Banner weapons, I forget the names of the two, but there's probably some returning Iron Banner weapons that now are going to be getting some Iron Banner origin traits. But also, I think probably the bigger thing for a lot of people, for ornament's sake, from Iron Banner is going to be the Taken King set from many moons ago for Iron Banner. This is the one, especially the hunters have to be the happiest. The one for, it's the wolf cloak, the wolf head on, and then the Titans, you got the big, like, kind of tuft out of the helmet, which
looks a lot.
I'm a big fan of the Titan one, actually. Even as a hunter man, I love the Titan set.
Me too, dude. I'm actually I think that was one of my main armor sets in Destiny 1. So I'm very excited to see this come back.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Warlock's got the third.
I was gonna say I am sorry the Warlocks is not that strong.
It's not I know favorite one. My favorite one is the one with the, remember all the stuff that had the fire in it?
Yeah, I mean,
that
of course.
Warlock one was good. But I mean, this was not terrible. But you guys stand neck and shoulders above us.
You are holding them. You get the bronze medal on this one. I'm sorry, the podium is pretty obvious here. Yeah,
easily. Like the Titan, I got the Lancelot King Arthur.
I love that Titan armor, man. It looks so cool. I'm gonna be sporting my Tiki Torch haircut with that helmet. Hell yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, every hunter is going to have this cloak on, so I can promise you, whatever percent of the population is hunters, you will find them in Iron Banner at least long enough to unlock this ornament because they're all going to use it. All right, so matchmaking is getting a bit of a twist, but this is one I think a lot of people have asked for, mostly because it comes to fire team based matchmaking. At a high concept, fire team FBMM, just for shortening because that's a mouthful, means that your fire team's makeup should match your opponent's. If you join a match queue as a full team of 6, you should generally match against another full fire team. Depending on how long you wait, it might be 5 and 1 or 4 and 2s, things like that. If you go in as a solo, maybe you'll see smaller groupings and things like that. This is one of those things I think everybody has asked for. I don't see much of a problem. They say they also plan to roll this out into more playlist Iron Banner, Trials, which whole different discussion there in the bottom, which we'll get to a little bit later. But in general, any issues with this that we might not be seeing? I see it as a positive in general, but I wonder if you guys see anything that I might not be thinking about.
I think it's an absolute win. I don't really see any downsides.
You guys,
well said. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised to see this. Yeah, definitely seemed like a positive change. Just got to see the implementation, but I like the fact that they're thinking that way, right?
I mean, this is one of those that when you hear it's not in there, you're like, really? It's not in there?
Yeah.
It's like yes, please, as soon as possible is kind of what I'm going for. But
it should help. That extra layer, hopefully.
The other piece of it is improving connection at the high end. This is for our guest and many of our guests who are the more elite, highest skilled PvP beasts. While we're seeing better matches for many players with a loose SBMM, we're also seeing issues for player connections when getting into high skill bands. To address this, we are planning to roll out a second new matchmaking feature called Dynamic Skill Ranges. At a high level, this feature increases the skill window our system looks for when matchmaking if you are in a low population skill bracket or during a particularly low population 2:30 in the morning or something, for example. The intent here is to increase the window enough to give those people at low population times additional good connections to choose from without harming the skill balance significantly. So basically, if you're playing at an odd hour, maybe you're in a weird location, it's going to broaden it up a bit more so it won't be quite as strict. But generally, when the population's back higher, it might tighten it up. So it just gives them a little more flexibility and variability in the skill when they need it.
Hear that, Shadow? You're gonna see me in your playlist, buddy. Get ready.
No, honestly, I think that's a very good change because at the highest brackets of skill-based matchmaking, it's very unplayable. With the extremely bad connections. Yeah, I mean, it's the same people. It's the same people teleporting. You match up and half the people in your lobby are from the other side of the planet, and naturally their connections are just extremely awful. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a very important new feature for those people in the higher brackets.
Yeah, they state, due to timing, we hope to roll out dynamic skill ranges sometime in January, so you gotta wait a little bit. But we expect to significantly increase connection quality in matches for high skilled players in control, which will probably turn into quick play. And we don't want to set a firm date just yet. but they'll have more information as they get closer. So the holiday, literally, they're dropping a season. We'll get like a week and a half. The dungeon and the story will go, but they're going to have like weeks out of the studio. So they're going to probably doing this early in January. The other piece is quitter suspension. They said they lowered the amount of suspension time handed out for serial quitting and quick play, added the amount of time remaining to all suspension messages, and made the messages trigger when clicking on the node. So if you do see it, you'll see how long in game. As we continue to roll out both new matchmaking, FBMM, and dynamic skill, which address many player feedback surrounding skill-based matchmaking, we will be reevaluating the need for a quitter penalty in quick play at all. Yay, nay,
Big
good?
fan of this.
Yep. I figured.
Fan of this? You liking this, Shadow? You feeling
The
this?
closer they can probably get to removing it in quick play, with the better. But
break it down.
Yeah, when it first came out, I just did a gut reaction tweet about the quitter penalty, and it became my most liked tweet ever, just by accident.
I love those Twitter algorithms. Like, hey, this one's gonna explode, and you're like, cool, that's the one.
Yeah. Anyway, suffice it to say, I'm not a fan of quitter penalties in 6v6, quick play, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm glad that they're reevaluating it and potentially removing it and effectively nerfing it with this change. So that's cool.
Rev.
Any thoughts on anything that I think I went through two things there for a bit.
Quitter penalties are necessary. I don't think they should be overly crazy. So makes sense. I'm into it.
Yeah, quick play should be always lighter on that side. So don't see too many issues here. E.
No, I mean, pretty much everything seems pretty good from what I can tell so far. I have no complaints about much of this whole TWAB. I'm just like pretty good. Couple things we'll get to, but generally positive on the overall. Trials, speaking of, we've got a couple new weapons coming. Got a machine gun and 140 hand cannon. I know 140s is kind of the prime spot for most PvP players. That's the general as opposed to 120s or 180s, but 140s are the general happy medium. They did say in a previous TWAB, machine guns, both for PvE, they're trying to bring up DPS, and also for PvP, they're trying to get more out of those. So I'll be curious where machine guns changes land, which we may see in December 1st on that TWAB. Does the machine gun excite you at all, Shadow, or is it just the 140?
I mean, it's all right. I mean, I don't really get excited by any weapon, any heavy weapon, to be fair.
Fair.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, it sounds okay.
They also said, I was just going to cover the rest. Additionally, we're looking to add fire team-based matchmaking into Trials of Osiris in the future. By introducing these matchmaking changes to the playlist, we're looking to provide a longer sense of fairness for smaller fire teams and eliminate the need for a freelance node. Solos can match solos or fill in for a team of duos. Fire teams of 3 will match fire teams of 3. While we won't have a change to the flawless pool for Season 19, we're working on a new paradigm that removes the flawless pool, but still provides protection for players working on Trials reputation rewards. Look for more information in Season 19. Our goal is to have a Trials Labs during Season 20. I'm just going to go first on this one. As a freelance guy,
I'd do it. Let's go.
If you can make fire team-based matchmaking actually work, and you're telling me 80% of the time or more that I'm playing generally that smaller team or 2-1, mostly solos, if I don't see 3s, but rarely, totally fine. Drop the freelance. I don't need it, because then when I go in, I'm not like defeated when I see a 3-stack against my solo team. For whatever reason, it feels like when you're a solo on non-freelance weekends, you do nothing but see 3-stacks, and I don't understand it, but it happens a lot. So if they can make this work, totally fine. Like, seriously, then you can drop the freelance node. I don't need it. This just is the piece that needed to make it happen. And then if they can get rid of the flawless pool as well, shove that all into one node, and then Trials is everybody clicks the same node, and then the matchmaking works the rest of it out, I'm good. And then they mentioned they might actually get a little light SBMM in Trials as well. I'm totally good. Not heavy, but light. So yeah, no, for the Trials changes, when all of this comes to fruition, I'm a happy camper. What about you guys?
I'll jump in. This is the one I need to see in practice, right? I'm going to be testing this to see how it is, because this affects me directly. Again, like you said, E, you know, it was to the point, like I refuse to play this standard trials matchmaking
It hurts.
as a solo player. It's just it's. I mean, the ratio would be ridiculous. I can't think of times where I'm not going up against a 2 or a 3 stack, and I felt like I don't ever be the third to someone's team or something like that. So I want to put this in theory. I want to see how that goes. It will be interesting to see if it does have success, if they truly do get rid of the freelance. I'm very curious about that. That'll be interesting. Yeah, about the flawless pool. I was gonna kind of bounce that back to you guys. Like, how are you guys feeling about that on the removal of it? Because I know that's been a point of contention. Some people, feel like, hey, bro, you've already been in here. Get out the playground, leave us kids alone, kind of thing. Or is it like,
I
do
never
the guys
feel like I get a benefit from the flawless pool existing, whether I play on a Friday or I play on a Sunday
right,
night.
for me, yeah.
Whether whether it's a solo player, a bit like I never feel a difference from the flawless pool much. My matches are either like, if it's not freelance, seems to be hit or miss no matter what. If it's freelance, I don't notice. So like, if the flawless pool is gone, I could care less personally.
I will say though, a lot of guys in my clan, they'll get like, say, Sin and DJ and those guys go flawless. Like, they'll do it on a Friday. Let's say I get the game on a Sunday, and now I'm trying to do trials. Matching with them is the absolute worst. Playing together with them, because then I'm thrust into that pool, and I'm just like, man, this like, even Teddy would. I'm like, bro, Teddy, I can't play with you, bro. Yeah. Like, you've already went flawless. I am seeing things I should not be seeing.
Yeah, I mean, to help people play together, play together, I think it can only help him as well. So the sooner that can probably go, I am fine with it.
In fairness to the flawless guys, I'm just curious how they feel about that if the pool goes away. Maybe they're happy. They're like, yeah, we can still, I'm curious.
I don't think the pool should exist.
No, I think this is a good change. Even as someone who has tried playing like on Mondays, like sometimes I don't even play trials, and then a friend on Mondays like, oh, let's play, and I was like, okay, so I mean, none of us have gone flawless, so we're in the non-flawless pool. And I mean, I kind of agree with you that it doesn't feel extremely different, but then we also did match like a lot of people who were just win resetting, and Bungie did say like, it's not a huge statistical amount of people who are resetting, but the thing is that the people who are resetting play a lot of trials. Yeah. We'd match people who have like 300 wins in a weekend, and they have never gone flawless because they reset, and it's like, oh, this is fun. Yeah. So I think that the system is flawed just because it's so incredibly easy to exploit it, and I'm glad that they're considering changing it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest, this is the one playlist where I think some of the changes that they're making don't really match what, maybe this is just my misconception about what Trials is supposed to be, but to me, Trials has always been about teams running together and competing in a like bracket-based tournament where the more wins you have on a card, you're playing other people with the same amount of wins as you, right? And you're kind of working your way to the end of the bracket. And so I don't think skill-based matchmaking really makes a ton of sense there, because you're playing against people that are at that point in your card, right? That sort of is the skill-based matchmaking. That has always made sense to me. Maybe it's that, there's people who are on their 6th win that are super low skill, and people on their 6th win that are super high skill. I've just never really viewed the mode as that way. I view it as like, if you're on your 6th win, you're playing other people who are on their 6th win, and that means that they're all at least that good, right? I don't have the data that Bungie has, so maybe they know something I don't. I also don't think that sequestering people off into a we already won playlist makes sense, because there's way too many ways to cheat that. It's like, a substitute teacher making a rule that very easily has holes, and people are kind of like, so that I just feel like that needed to come out of the game. And also, it sort of doesn't really jive with the spirit of Trials, in my opinion. I think it should be whatever win you're on, that's your card. It's card-based matchmaking. It's not skill-based or anything else. So yeah, I'm interested to see how these work out. My personal opinion is that Trials has had an identity crisis since they made those changes earlier this year, and I don't think that that's going away. It's way less important. It's at an all-time low in terms of the importance in my life, but I'm a certain type of player, and I know that there's lots of people that do play Trials still, people who probably weren't playing it before when it was a pure laissez-faire card-based tournament. So that's fine. If they want that mode, take it. I guess I'm done playing it probably, but I'm Trials is no longer my favorite mode, which is obviously a little bit sad, but whatever. I'll live.
Well, we might get something that brings you back here, but we'll get to that in a second.
I was
Before we
gonna
get
ask
there, though, the year of Lightfall, which is going to be year 6 for Destiny 2, so you can let that sink in. For the coming year, we're going to be bringing back 2 maps from earlier in Destiny 2, and we've just started production on a brand new map, which we are going to be releasing in the year of Lightfall. So basically, you get 1 new map over the course of the next year, and you get 2 maps out of the Destiny content vault. Wanted to get your guys' take on this one. Shadow especially, because you see a lot of these maps.
I think we need more new maps. I am extremely, well, I mean, it's obviously a very popular opinion, but I honestly would rather have like 2 new maps than have 1 new map and 2 come out of the vault.
Same.
Especially like we played these maps like what 2 years ago before Beyond Light. I mean, I feel like we're gonna.
You're not hyped
No,
for the old maps.
It's like seeing a relative.
As
you
much
don't
as
get
I
along
like
with.
them, yeah, as much as I like some of the maps they took away, I don't really, I don't know, I'm not confident that they'll bring back the ones that are popular, first of all, and then second, like I feel like we're gonna quickly reach a point where they get extremely stale. Like Vostok, it's been back for a few months. I am so done with that map. Like,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like
You ever have
also,
a friend?
especially
Sorry.
D1 maps, like if we've been playing them for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years in a row, like it's gonna get so freaking old. I do not want any more D1 maps. I just want new maps. I want like something to mix it up,
Yeah.
And
You ever have like a friend you got sick of and you're like, God, I think I need to not hang out with you for a while. Like maybe they're your roommates for like 2 years, and then you don't see them for 6 months, and then they come around again after 6 months and you see them and you're like, nope, wasn't enough time.
nothing changed.
Wasn't enough time. I still need more of a break. That's how I feel with some of the Destiny maps. I'm like, nope, I'm not ready for this.
That's fair. Yeah. As for the production of new maps, I don't know. I feel like 1 per year, people are gonna get pretty annoyed at that. Because I mean, if you compare to literally any other time in Destiny, we always had more maps than we do now.
Even like an
Destiny 1,
expansion-
we had 8 maps in the Taken King. Like now we have 8 times less. So yeah, it kind of feels bad.
Yeah, I mean, like expansions, we used to get like like 2 or 3 strikes, 2 or 3 Crucible maps, and you're getting 1, and this is over the course of the year, which means it's not at the start of Lightfall.
The entire year. Yeah, exactly.
Like season 20 is gonna get 1 Destiny 2 map that we already saw, but just haven't seen in a while. Season 21, the same thing. Maybe season 22, we see 1 new map, and that's a year from now.
It's gonna be like Disjunction 2.0.
It's kind of crazy that since Destiny 2 vanilla launched, we've gotten more expansions than we've gotten new Crucible maps.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
actually tweeted something about like comparing the amount of maps that we had in like years of Destiny 1 versus now, and it's
nuts.
It's depressing,
It's
bro.
So slow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I think that
SB is killing me in the chat.
What?
He said, "What new map? The game is fixed now."
Yeah, I know.
He said, "Tell me you don't have a full-time PvP team without telling me you don't have."
I think the next line on top of what you were saying is like, I think this is telling the state of the PvP development team. This is like where they are, because if you have some experience creating gameplay spaces and would like to join the Destiny creating Destiny content, be sure to check out our Destiny careers page. I feel like the PvP team has put a lot of work into all this stuff we're discussing. There's a lot. There's like the director got reworked. They're working on the matchmaking. We actually got ranked, which we're going to get to just in a second. All of those things are not small. But again, if you say 1 new map over the course of the year, and they say like, reworking the old maps for the new engine is not small, but 1 new map over 12 months does not feel like much. So again, that may be where their teams are at, the other IPs, other priorities. Maps seem real low right now in that priority totem pole, and people would like to see that to be bumped up a little higher. So it does seem like those are going to get stale. Maybe though comp helps, but yeah, it's just this is one of the few things I read. There's one more like disparaging thing, but I think we'll all agree. But this is one of the things I read. It's like 1 new map, because we only got 1 this year. So over the course of 2 years, It's two
And before
new
then, we had
maps.
like a 1,000-day streak of no maps.
Yeah.
No map. And then isn't the new map? Is it Rift specific or it's
Disjunction?
open?
No, Disjunction's open now.
You can find it other places.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
everywhere.
People don't
but
want it,
it's
but
clear
it's
that
there.
it was
You
made
know,
for Rift.
It's made for
Like the Rift is the
at least
only
we didn't
mode where
get-
it plays somewhat okay. All the other modes plays like garbage, in most people's opinions, anyway.
I don't know, man. Like this is hard times on these maps, bro. Like this is bad. Like I've never seen it. Like you're a full-time game. I can't let them off the hook with this, y'all. Like you're a full-time game. Like what's going on, bro? Like you
What
can't
happened to that PlayStation money?
All right,
I thought this was all going to be fixed.
All right, right now you looking
Dog.
good with that PlayStation because I'm like, I have to admit, since I think it was Astacross has a video out, and we're looking at all the factors of the game currently and why player unhappiness and player count down, and a lot of it was the what you call it, the skill base. Some people had issues with the airborne accuracy, but I gotta admit, Trav, I gotta give you this one a little bit. I am now, my antenna is up. Because it's like since then, and I notice things is in transition. I try to be respectful, but it's like I feel like the quality of the game, right? We talked about the bugs and stuff, and then which is really bad. Exotics being disabled for long periods of time, things being shut off, quests not working, really basic upkeep stuff that they traditionally have been good about. Now, in conjunction with this stuff, and I'm just like, I'm hoping, and when Nightfall come around, that that this is where we at. But I know things take a while to infuse, so I'm not going to get crazy. But I will give you this: my antenna and my eyebrow is up. I will say that. I'm not putting the blame yet, but I will give you now that I have to pay attention to what you said as far as since this point forward, what are we seeing, right? And it's a factor. I have to acknowledge it.
It's almost like that buyout money goes to their shareholders and not to the company.
Relax yourself.
It's almost like
I've been
they didn't
listening
gain
a little.
anything. Almost like they sold their soul and didn't gain anything except for
I will
access
say
to
this:
Sony music publishing.
the thing that I will pay attention to your point, Trav, is the siphoning of mental energy and resources towards projects.
Brain drain is
Right.
coming
Towards
That's
their live service endeavors, and how much of that is truly a factor. So we'll see.
All right. Well, speculation of all the world's problems aside, we are getting a ranked ladder competitive redesign. Glory is not reworked. It is gone. I just want like the high level feel when you got to the point and this actually became an existent thing in your mind. Like Shadow, first take, like how are you feeling being as we actually have copper, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, adept, ascendant, like 1, 2, where are you at right now? I gotta know.
I think this is awesome. We've been asking for a ladder mode ranked thing for years, since Destiny 1 even. So getting this finally in the game is amazing.
Gentlemen, any hot takes before we get into the details?
Oh, Trav, it's you, baby. Let's go.
Oh yes, it's happening, homies. It's here. It's coming, guys. We did it. We did it. How long did it take? Let's just say I was an entirely different man when we started this conversation. But it's okay. We got there. That's all that matters, okay? I'm stoked for this. I'm not going to lie. As soon as I saw that this was a 6,000 word thing, I said, "Oh, Crucible rework." I saw it was Crucible rework, and I scrolled until I saw icons for different ladder ranks. And once I saw the ladder ranks, I stopped and I was like, "That's right, baby. We made it." So I'm very excited. Anyway, let's continue. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so in Season 19, they are removing Glory and adding a 3v3 ranked playlist competitive division, which is a true ladder-based system. You have and they go in 1, 2s, and 3s because they mention them later. Copper is your lowest, then you go to bronze, silver, gold, platinum, adept, and ascendant will be your top notch. And it's fitting. You got adept and ascendant for your Destiny terminology. I was like, okay, I see what you did. Your game modes that you've got in here are 3v3 survival, 3v3, is it showdown? Is that right? And then comp. Or sorry, and then rift is the other one.
Comp. There's just a mode called comp.
Just
That would
comp,
be
yeah.
such a sweaty mode.
There
Just
was a mode called
competitive.
comp.
Yeah.
Just comp.
Yeah. So for the first season, you're gonna be having a placement. When I read placement, I was like, oh, we full ladder, like we full ladder. We got one. So we got a placement series of 7 matches. The highest you can get placed first season going to be gold 3, and then all the crazy people can work it out from there as they work up in the rankings. In future seasons, you'll be placed closer to your previous competitive division. They say your rating is going to be adjusted based on your match outcome, whether you win or lose. The division's inflation or deflation, how far above or below your division's skill you compare. The match performance, how well you specifically perform on a match-to-match basis, and also your player lobby skill, like were you playing good people or were you playing crappy people? As you earn and lose division rating, if you gain enough rating, you move up or down between gold 2 to gold 1, you'll just go up. If you're going gold 1 to platinum 3, you have to enter a promotion series where you have to win 2 out of 3 games to bump to that next named level. Same thing, if you're falling, if you're dropping down, you're going gold 3 to silver 1, you got the relegation series. You got to win 2 out of 3 to remain in your current division. You're struggling and you keep struggling, you're dropping. Basically, this is one of the first times they're going to be like, hey, if you're not that good, you're going to be living at about silver 2. Welcome. This is where you stay. And that's just how that's good. But not everybody is going to be able to reach the top. And they truly say not everybody is going to be able to reach the high ranks. And that's probably that's what they didn't want that in glory, because eventually there were enough protections where you didn't lose that much, but you gained enough. You would eventually get there if you played enough. That is not a guarantee. If you are not that good, get comfortable. Now, you can work on getting better, but just time is not going to be the thing. You're actually going to have to improve your skill. They do say upon reaching gold or higher, your division rating is subject to decay on a weekly basis, and you'll lose if you just don't play enough matches. So before I get into rewards, which is like the next topic, how do you guys feel the winning, loss, division rating? How do you guys feel this is going to go?
Great. This is exactly what I've wanted them to have from skill-based matchmaking for a long time. Like, it's more than just did you win, did you lose? It's more than just your KD. It's how well did you perform against people that are currently ranked higher than you? How much did you carry a team of people who perform worse than you in a game? It's like all the factors that are important. It's all the things that people complain about, ironically, when they're talking about how they don't want skill-based matchmaking. They complain about the exact stuff that this fixes, right? It addresses all of the problems that people typically have, the negative experiences when they're playing in Crucible. And so if they're doing it right, it'll have all these factors, and then it'll also take into account which ladder rung you're in, and it'll make games feel way better. Will they be more sweaty? Absolutely. I don't view that as a bad thing. That's, you have to feel the worst thing. I can tell you this. The worst thing about the worst thing that can happen to you in a game is for you to feel like you're the only person who's going to be able to contribute to whether you win or lose.
Good point.
Terrible, because we've all know what it's like to have shitty teammates and be like, dude, why do I have to carry this match? That's a shitty feeling. Or to be on the other side and to feel like no matter how good you do, there's nothing you can do to have an impact on the game. And that's what you get when you don't have skill-based matchmaking. You get a whole bunch of people who feel like no matter how well they play for them, they're not going to be able to have an impact on the game. And a whole lot of people who feel like they have to carry every match. And that sucks. And skill-based matchmaking is the cure. So players, take your medicine. You don't need to know how the vaccine works. Just get the shot. I promise it'll help. Okay.
Yeah, I had a question for you before we pass it. Actually, get Shadow. Then I got a question for you. Shadow. What you think? Sorry.
How's it
yeah.
sound?
So the only question I have, and I've seen people talking about this on Twitter as well, is this actually a true ladder system like in other games where you match based on your rank? Because it does say true ladder, but then it also says no, it's not. It's skill-based matchmaking.
So all ladder systems also have skill-based matchmaking factors. They're not just if you're in this ladder, you play against people. They have skill-based matchmaking systems in the background, pretty much all of them.
Okay, well, I don't play a lot of other games, so I don't know. But from what I've heard from a lot of other people, there are plenty of games where it's like the top competitive games, like CS, for example. they just match you based on your rank, and they balance you like on the teams based on your rank, and skill is just not even a factor. So I don't know. I'm curious how this is going to work, because I mean, in theory, you know, a 0.2 KD could play a whole bunch of other 0.2 KDs and rank up really high, which really wouldn't make sense to me. So yeah,
Well,
I think we'll really have to wait and see when it comes with the competitive division like factors, you know, because they did kind of lay out this whole thing that you just mentioned about the factors when it comes to like winning and losing, your match performance. So I don't know how those things will actually work in the game, because they don't really specify the exact numbers or anything like that. But I think we'll just have to wait and see. But that's kind of something where I'm still wondering what it'll be like.
That's fair that we don't know how they'll handle it, and Destiny certainly has the ability to take good ideas and implement them poorly and make them look like they were bad ideas. Hashtag sunsetting. But I will say, like pretty much all the modern games I can think of, Halo Infinite, Valorant, Rainbow Six Siege, they all Rocket League, Gwent, even. They take your ladder and they make it one of the factors in skill-based matchmaking when you're playing on the comp playlist. And then they take your skill level overall from the game based on, you know, all the data they've accrued in recent weeks and months since you've been playing. And that's also a factor. So if they're doing like a snake draft, the snake draft will be based off of your overall skill-based matchmaking record, and then the actual people in the lobby will be based off of your ladder rank. You referenced CSGO. CSGO is about 20 years old. They are not what I would call the cutting edge when it comes to ladder systems or ranked playlists in general in the PvP world. Some people do it through ladder, but those tend to have a little bit of a more eccentric matching systems, in my experience. Like you end up with a little bit less controlled, more lopsided matches sometimes, which sometimes is the charm. I kind of feel like that's true of CSGO.
Yeah, look, man, this was a surprise. This was, wow, it was cool to see. I felt like Trav when I saw the icons for each rank. Smiled. I'm like, there's the old budgie. That's what y'all used to do. You know what I mean? And you know, to Shadow's point, yes, we got to see the implementation, right? We got to actually see it. But in theory, everything that we're reading on paper sounds absolutely great. You know, I to be honest, you know, actually excited me before more than the ranking itself was like the placement. Like, I like that. It felt like a little tour. Like everybody, see, I play sports, so it's like scrimmages. All right, we all gonna break up in little scrimmages. All right, and then we're gonna see who gonna run with who, what team gonna run with what team based on how you do in these pre-game kind of warm-ups. It's like the coach is assessing the talent. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. So I'm like, okay, and you see where we go. So look, this is what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do have questions about the decay portion. But I understand it, because I guess maybe they're looking at it from the standpoint of guys kind of like sitting on a rank when they get to a certain point, and they're like, I'm gonna just chill. I'm gonna be ascendant, and I don't have to do that once I make ascendant. So there's protection for people trying to exploit and say you still got to be active on that. But yeah, in theory, it sounds great. I mean, overall, this is a net positive. You know, we'll see how they implement it. We'll see if there's any tweaks that need to be necessary. I do have another issue, but we'll get into it because they're going to talk about it later. But you're muted, E. But there you go. I'm sorry, you say
I was
something?
going to say that's the main issue everybody has, so we'll get to that in a second.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's the cog issue, which is nothing to do with this. This on paper, it's fantastic. This is what we wanted. 2 years in, 10 toes down, we fought to get to this point. Thank you, Bunch. I want to give them their rose to be fair first. This needed to happen. This was the moment.
Rose?
Hey. Boss, let's go. Okay,
Sorry.
you set it up.
Sorry, you did that.
Yeah, set it up. But you know, obviously, we complained about the I see you, Seth. We already complained about the one map. We got you, bro. You know what I'm saying? We got you. We took care of that. But as far as this comp, let's go. Like, yes, this is the shot in the arm that we needed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with all of you. The fact that we talked about it, we hoped ladder. I can't tell you how many guests that we've had on here that have resoundingly the same idea of a ladder system, ranks, something, and then I walk in and I see the 7 divisions, the cool icons, the purple one at the end looks gloriously, like, ridiculously over the top, and then you've got gold 1, 2, 3. I'm like, it is actually just about it. Now, as Shadow said, is SBMM going to play some weird situation in the back? Is it going to be, can they go heavy into the ranks for like the matching and then like maybe use a little SBMM kind of to build the team around it, depending on if you're freelance or if you're whatever? That I don't know. We'll have to see all the implementations. But the fact that it exists, the fact that when they said, hey, it's a glory rework, and I had to bring my expectations way down thinking it could have just been a glory rework and not an actual comp rebuild. The fact that I got to see this was exciting. And yeah, I know we're not getting matches. We're going to get to the rewards in a second, which they have said they are working on for the future. And the maps, yeah, that doesn't leave a great taste when you get one for a year. But the system itself here, that I'm very happy to see. Zero questions. Just about everything here looks great from what I can tell. SBMM questions of, you know, magician trickery aside, yeah, pretty exciting. Now, competitive division rewards. Right now, the only real rewards that you're going to be getting are 2 things. One is a weekly drop. We'll cover that in a second. That's Rose, which we'll cover. The other one is going to be a multiplier on your Crucible reputation ranks you earn in Destiny, and it's based on your rank. So if you're Ascendant, it's 1.5, Adept 1.4, works all the way down to Copper and Bronze being 1.0. So your main benefit right now is the bragging rights of the title, which I know some people are definitely going to want, but the Crucible ranks is the only actual kind of tangible benefit per se, besides the actual rank that you see. Now, they do say these multiply with, say, Crucible Labs and plus 25%, the Crucible rank multiplier, which, of course, the Crucible rank multiplier, when you have, like, the bonus week, of course, you know, they got to bring it down to 1.5. It can't just be 2.0. Everything's got to be a little, God forbid they give you too much. They got to get you. You're muted, by the way.
Who, me?
Yeah, you were.
Oh, you can hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay.
So that's one of them. The other reward that you're going to get is the actual Rose hand cannon. First time you do the competitive ranks playlist piece, you're going to be getting 1 Rose that has the original perks. And then each week, once per character, so 3 chances a week, when you complete the, you know, competitive division objective or whatever, and this is, again, the weekly objective for the rolls, you're going to have a chance to get a randomly rolled Rose hand cannon, which is a 140, but allows you to move like a 150, blend of the stats, has rolled grips instead of an origin trait, which is going to give some people some fun. Yeah, and then they say future rewards. They say we aren't done in seasons post Lightfall, so 21, 22. We are expecting to get further cosmetic rewards for competitive division. That is a future thing, but that's 6 months from now, theoretically. So they are rolling this out right now with Rose as your grindable weapon, 3 chances a week. And then outside of Crucible rep, you're grinding for title. I know you got like literally words on your face, so you go and then Shadow, so we can make sure Shadow gets his time to go.
Y'all know I'm the guy for the rewards. Y'all know what I do. Y'all know why I play this game. So this is for me. At first, I'm like, all right, you got the Rose hand cannon. You know, I guess that has significance to some people. I really don't care about the Rose. I mean, it'd probably be amazing. It probably would be. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful, but the problem I have is the logic behind, okay, they said the reason why they don't want to do the Pinnacle rewards anymore, you know, the unfair thing, people won't be able to get it. So now you've already established that on your competitive, your higher end stuff, in PvP, we're not really going to give you anything. Theoretically, I do have a problem with it because PvE doesn't get these type of restrictions. There are people who do dungeons and raids, and when they do dungeons and raids and Nightfalls and Grandmasters, they get adept weapons, they get things for that, right? So I really don't care about your feelings about someone can't get it. Like, I really don't. Like, I'm just going to be brutally honest. Like, that's not my problem because you don't care for the people who get Vex, Mythic Class, Collective Obligation,
Exactly what I was going to say, Cog.
Touch Malice. You don't care that they get it. And then what about the PvP guy that don't want to raid? So you see what I'm saying? Where's the you're making the game one-sided. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't care about that part with that.
Preach.
Now,
Amen.
now the thing that I also a little bothered by is
Testify.
that my man. The thing that I'm also bothered by is like, okay, you're gonna talk about. We talked about Tess's influence. How you don't got no emblems ready to go? How you don't got no cosmetic thing when you reach the ascendant and make us feel good? Okay, fine. You want to go with this stupid decision that I don't agree with the weapons? Okay, fine. But bro, give us something. These are not easy things to attain. There are people who are putting in blood, sweat to get that thing. So that's all. Make a dynamic emblem. Like, why is it that Tess got all the hot? Like, come on, bro. Like, you're exposing your hand. I don't believe you. I don't believe you that you ain't have nothing in time. You can make stuff for Tess, no problem. I could go in there. I could get cat ears. I could do all this stuff. You had the crossovers with Fall Guys. You got all the time in the world to make all this other stuff. But for competitive, we gotta wait 2 seasons. I'm not buying. I love you, but I'm not buying it. That's just me. So I got my rant. I'm done. I gave them their stuff for making the mode, but we still got to get to true balance with PvP. Don't treat us like second-class citizens when PvE guys have been eating for years. I'm done.
Word.
Travis is also done. Shadow, yeah.
Yeah. I'd just like to give a little pushback on the thing they said about Pinnacle weapons, not on you. So basically they said they don't want, like insane Pinnacle weapons to be unobtainable at the very high end of the comp ladder or whatever. And I think that's reasonable. I don't think there should be like some insanely OP weapon, but I also think that there shouldn't be nothing. I think there's plenty of room for a middle ground here. I feel like you can have good, solid weapons that are desirable, that are hard to get. Like, I'm not saying it should be some OP mountaintop that, takes a million years to get. And, but I think there really does need to be aspirational, difficult weapons that exist in that playlist.
I have an idea. I don't know. If you're listening, you can have this one. If you get to Adept or Ascendant, Rose can drop with enhanced perks.
Hey.
That's not awful game breaking.
There you go.
See?
Yeah.
That just those
stuff like that.
Yeah, like I was literally trying to think and that one just popped in my head, but I was like, but yeah, I mean your Luna's House and things like that where it's like, yeah, okay, we're going to make you a 160 hand cannon, but fight hits like a 120, you're like, okay, that's going to actually break the game. But it's like yeah, I was like, that would be ridiculous. But on the other side, yeah, you got to give them something. It's like they should have showered cosmetics out of the gate. I think that should have been a start.
100% agree.
As you said, if you want this thing to succeed, which I know they do, and there's a lot in here, and the grind for just like the Prestige is going to last 1 season, but then Lightfall is going to be here, and we're still going to be waiting. If they don't put extra work in before Lightfall to put some cosmetics in there, that's going to hurt. But again, also, yeah, you're also talking about Eververse getting loaded to the gills every time, Season Pass having all this stuff, multiple sets of armor, all these, and you can't put like a ornament, an emote. Yeah, it's like emote. I forget his name. I don't know if it's Josh Kalinsky. I know there's an emote, or Ben Platnick. I forget which one. There's 2 guys, and I forget which one's an emote guy because he does them. I'm like, dude, give him a raise. Let him be like, hey, can we, get a little extra fun? Give him a bonus or something. Make 1 or 2 things that you can only get. Like, you standing on like the lighthouse chest or whatever it may be. Doesn't matter. Like, have something you can go for at the top. At least the cosmetics to start till you figure it out. But I was like, I just gave you one. You have a gun specific to this with Rose. And you could do enhanced perks. Like, enhanced perks in PvP? Like, what? That you could actually earn as a drop. And maybe if you get to Ascendant, then you can get like double drops in the perk pool, so you get better chances on your 3 chances. Like those, especially those 2, when you ascend that high, no pun intended, that has to be there. Like that needs as fast as possible. That is the biggest thing. I love that the mode exists, but those rewards, some reason to climb all the way to the top, needs in there as a massive priority. to make this thing continue to succeed. The fact that it starts, people do it for one season, but it needs it quick. That's my opinion.
So, if I could just finish off here.
Please.
Yeah.
I agree with everything that everyone has said, which is rare. Can we timestamp this?
Yeah, I'm like, hold on, I gotta.
Can we get a marker on this?
I'm just gonna go ahead.
All agree?
I'm going to put that out there, and that's gonna be the only clip from the show. So let me get a timestamp real quick.
Fantastic. We all agree on this thing. I will add an additional complaint because I agree with everything you guys said. I think there should be something. It's crazy that you can get, pinnacle weapons from doing a Grandmaster Nightfall, one of the most unattainable activities and inaccessible activities in the game because it requires you to grind for max power and blah, blah, blah. But you can't do the same thing from PvP. That is dumb. That is dumb. The fact that you can't get cosmetics is stupid. It doesn't, that should be at bare minimum table stakes, that there's some sort of title or something or effect on your armor. They've done that stuff in the past.
They have seals and titles for everything, and they don't even mention
I
that
know.
yet. Maybe it's there, and they just haven't said it yet.
They talk about a seal, but part of that's not going to be get Ascendant. I just feel like it's not.
Definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not. So I will add one more thing to this list of complaints.
Let's go.
Bungie has a long and storied history of taking the wrong lessons away from failed projects. So I fear that if comp is not revolutionary next season when they add the ladder, they'll blame the system and go, oh, well, maybe we worked all this time on the ladder system and it's really not what the players want. And they won't look at maybe the way they implemented it as being a problem, right? And maybe the fact that they didn't give any incentives to do it. So while I think it's way better than it is now, I think even with no rewards, it will increase the player base. I would find it hard to believe that it's not going to. I worry that they're going to look at this and go, oh, it's a failed experiment because of their own implementation. Because this could easily become another sunsetting. I know I bring it up a lot, but they took the wrong lesson away from sunsetting. It wasn't the sunsetting. It was the way you implemented it. People hated that. So I'm worried. Your boy is worried, Cog.
Good point.
But I'm not gonna slam him too hard. I'm so excited that this is happening. I really don't care about anything else.
We're just pushing them because we know they're trending in the right direction with this TWAB, and we know overall this was the right thing, right? But we just don't want to let them off the hook. Like, hey guys, you made it. That's it. Woo, we're happy, guys. One map, no roids. Okay, like we still gotta you on your way, but we still gotta get there. You know, say it all the way. But great point. And we'll see. But I overall net positive with some issues.
No, I wanted to give it to Shadow because depending on your time, I know you may need to wrap up. But final thoughts on the TWAB. Probably won't see you before season 19. So just as you kind of take these last couple of weeks, where are you sitting now with season 19 on the horizon and this comp grind? How does that look for you in the future?
I think this is overall like a very positive TWAB. I think a lot of it really does remains to be seen because a lot could go wrong or a lot could go right with the fine details of how they implement things. And they'll probably surprise us with a few things that we haven't seen in the TWAB yet. So I'm kind of in wait and see mode right now, but coming out of one of the darkest periods in PvP history, which has been recently, I think it would be difficult for things to go downhill from here. So I'm optimistic, cautiously.
I'm sure that sounded so funny. Like we were suffering so hard. Like it's the dark ages. It's kind of true though. The way you said it is so true though. I had to laugh. That was hilarious.
I mean, it was 900 days without a map or whatever, and then we finally are getting a couple of modes like in seasons, which is good. And it's like they've started the snowball down the hill, and it's gathering a little momentum. This is another it picked up another chunk of snow as it's going down, but it's not a full running machine yet. We're not getting like a map a season. We're not quite there on the cosmetics. We're not it's getting there. The ball's building up snow, but it's not in full force yet. So I fully agree. Well, if there's anything else you want to say to anybody or tell people where to find you if you got to run, floor is yours, man. I don't know how much time you got left, but we appreciate the hour we got out of you for sure.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to come on here, you guys. It's always fun. I think I've got to run. You can find me on YouTube at Shadow Destiny. That's it.
Oh man, good to have you,
Cool.
man.
Always nice
Great
talking
for
to you,
this.
buddy.
Yeah, great to have you for this episode. This was the pain. This was the suffering. We get the
Yeah.
rent. You know
Good
what I
timing
mean?
with the PvP 12 and all, so that was awesome.
They finally let our people go, Shadow. They let our people go.
Exactly. Let's go.
Well, thank you, man. Have a good one and happy Thanksgiving next week.
All right, thanks. Peace.
See ya.
Peace. Shadow.
Right. As for the rest of the TWAB, that's basically it. The only thing that is still out there is known issues. Players can sometimes die when transporting to the Nightmare Realm in the Duality Dungeon. It is broken still
Known.
6 months later.
Hilarious.
Like that has got to be one of those bugs where they're trying to fix like sniper rifles or something. I don't know what's causing it, but the fact that they don't know what's causing it 6 months later is not great when that's like, you know, your paid dungeon card, whatever, like that's an extra piece that people can pay for and it's still got a chance to kill you randomly. That's not the best. They do say the next TWAB is going to be on December 1st, so nothing next week on TWAB front. It's literally on Thanksgiving Day, so nothing will be there.
Cool.
They say next week it is going to be more of a sandbox, or not next week. December 1st will be more of a sandbox TWAB as the last thing, which also implies they're not going to tell us what the season is, because they also mention when they say trials weapons, they're like, we're not going to show icons or emblems of a hint of anything coming. So we come back to this point of secretive seasons launching on the day of and stuff like that. We got the community event. You know, we're going to help rebuild the Elixir Quarter. We'll see, you know, if that has anything tied to it or whatever. But in the world of secretive seasons, do you guys like this, or how do you want it? Are you okay with this going forward? Because it seems like this is what they've leaned into a couple times now, and it feels like that's going to happen again.
What do you mean secretive seasons?
Like they'll drop the trailer for the new season the morning of the new season, like 2 hours before, if they can help it.
Yeah, I like that.
Cog?
Why spoil the surprisey?
He likes to know.
I want one day just so I can make the
content.
I want one day. You can do it on Monday. You can do the trailer on Monday and then drop it on Tuesday. And I honestly think that would help for one, let all the YouTubers make the video, let them get it out there and actually spread the word. Hey, it's time for a new season. Maybe you should come back. But two, also, it lets me get that out of the way so I can actually jump in and make something about it the other day. So yeah, it's 100%. This is an 100% content creator request. I'll fully admit, 100%.
I told you.
Content creator request. Give me one day. Drop that trailer on Monday. I don't care if it's like Monday night, so it's a little closer. Give me something Monday before I go to sleep, so then I can literally log in and then get to that. Because like then it's like, oh, I got the trailer. Make a video. Then here it is. Then it's just like, and then it's always like, well, then I got to get up earlier. It's like if I could sleep up until the season starts, that'd be better too. So it's like it's 100% personal on this one, but it's also, I do feel like when it drops that day. Yeah, the trailer will go out there and stuff like that. But one day before, I don't know. I feel like that wouldn't hurt anything for it. So that's just, but yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a me thing.
All good, all good. I mean, I'm indifferent. However they want to handle it, you know. Sometimes they give you a name, you know, or something like that. Sometimes I miss when you get the name and then you can speculate. I will say that. Like I do miss,
you know, like Season of the Plunder, and we would have been like, we probably would have figured out. We probably could have gone Fallen with that one because they're pirates, but we wouldn't know what's going on. But we'd already been like, oh, is Aramis coming or whatever? But yeah, but yeah, it's like, you know, Season of whatever, light trailer. One day before, let the speculation train run. Let Destiny, Reddit, and Twitter, and YouTube do its thing, and then go Tuesday. That's just me.
Yeah. No, I like the name part, and especially when they used to name, they would tell you like the raid name. It's like, oh, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? Or the dungeon name kind of thing. I think the name is, but I guess now they're just so. Then I think what has happened is the narrative part of the game. Should say sadly, in a good way, it's improved so much, but now it's the strongest part of the game.
Yeah,
more part of it, stronger than the actual gameplay ritual.
Yeah,
the ritual
they're like, oh yeah, you're going to be doing 3-man and 6-man. So like, but the story. We holding those cards tight.
We hold on that now. So I think that has the shift has happened that way.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I know we talked about the dungeon. Speculation of Vex does kind of fit since we really haven't had one, and we'll probably do. I'm gonna hate shooting those goblins, but it's gonna be a thing.
Yeah,
Stock your bounties up if you need to. It's not gonna help a ton, but it helps a little. The dungeon will drop literally on Friday, the 9th. Season drops on the 6th.
So 6th of December.
6th of December is the season. 9th is the dungeon.
Hold on,
And
Nightfall's coming. Hold on.
all the games that come out between now and then are quite a few, actually.
Oh god, when is High on Life come out? When
I forget. High on Life is the 13th. You got like 4 days after.
Before, okay, so Sun's before.
Crisis Core is on the 13th as well.
How about that? Damn it. Yo, December's crazy for me.
Callisto
too.
Protocol.
It was when?
Need for Speed Underbound and Midnight Suns are all December 2nd.
Oh my god.
All 3 of those. I want to play Callisto, but if it's short enough, I might be able to play that like what is December 2nd? I might be able to do a weekend stream on that one, but that just is it's a lot. But if I don't do it then it's like won't play it till next year. So it's always tough.
Decisions.
Oh yeah, and then Warhammer Darktide is November 30th. That's another one that I know some people are looking forward to.
Nice.
As for November, we've got Evil West on the 22nd. Pokemon is tomorrow, theoretically.
Yep.
Miles Morales on PC is tomorrow. Goat Simulator's today.
Huh?
Huh?
Oh, I gotta get on my
Miles on PC is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those are, I think, the main ones. That's enough, and don't even get me started on 2023. So. Yeah, I think we kind of burned through that a little bit just because Shadow is here. But you guys have anything else? Do you feel like we kind of covered it all? I'm excited for the fact a ranked ladder, like the dream of like bronze, gold, silver, 1, 2, 3, like literally got what we hoped for on that one. The rewards need help, maps need more, that kind of thing. I would like to see more of. And hopefully as they continue to build up people, maybe that can get faster. But yeah, the promise of 1 new map and then polishing 2 old ones over a year. It's just like, when you think about it, that's not when you pay $100 for like the Nightfall expansion and you get 1 new map over the course of a year. It is a game that does have PvP as an ongoing live service. You feel like that you probably need a little more. I don't know how many strikes we're going to get, but how many strikes did we get with Witch Queen? 2? Lightblade.
2.
Yeah, we got Lightblade and then the Scorn one, which I always forget the name of. The Disgraced or something.
I don't care about strikes, man.
Yeah.
I really don't.
2, yeah. So I but okay. If again they have less than that, take some of the old content and stop charging people for it. Throw Nightmare Hunts in there. Throw Empire Hunts in there. Throw PsyOps Battlegrounds in there. Throw a bunch of shit into that playlist. Excuse my language, but give it variety. Because when you put me in Vanguard Ops for lots of different reasons, just like the content is sitting there, just make it available and pull from that. And even if somebody doesn't own the content per se, like maybe they don't own Shadowkeep, but they see like a Nightmare Hunt, for example, maybe they get a quick run through a Nightmare Hunt. They're like, what was that? Just let them see it same with an Empire Hunt. They're like, this thing on Europa is kind of cool. What's this all about? You might actually sell some of the stuff that you're still charging people for that you shouldn't be. But I mean, if you want to do that, you may as well let them have a teaser every so often. Just my idea.
Yeah, it's got to be the way they separate it. And all the different layers of these multiple models that they have, right? With the seasonal and you have access to this, don't have access to that. It's got to be that. That's the only thing I can think of. Because, they have content that they literally can use, but it just seems like it's sequestered off, and it's a purpose decision to try to get people to play, baby. But yeah, they just got to do better. They just got to look as what is it? Hogue used to say, "It's not my problem."
Oh no, yeah,
I'm the consumer. You know what I'm saying? So make it work. Do it.
Yeah. I mean, really when Lightfall drops, you could maybe charge for Witch Queen because that's kind of its own little thing. But like anything before Witch Queen, Beyond Light, Shadowkeep, Forsaken stuff should be free. Like you're that far away from it at that point. You're still gonna have somebody pay for Shadowkeep, which is not compared to like Witch Queen or Beyond Light or anything else, not that high of a bar. Like that, you need to start getting some of the stuff free. It just needs to happen. That's just my opinion.
Maybe
Yeah.
Or maybe Destiny should have been free to play a long time ago.
Yeah, truly free to play. Like you've always said, they've gotten away with this multiple model that no other games can do. Like it's free to play, but it's not. It's expansions. It's just weird. You know what I'm saying? The way,
Microtransactions, it's season
yeah,
passes, it's seasonal content.
it's so much. It's so much. Like God bless them. They able to get away. Like I will say this: the few studios can pull off this.
Because of you simps. That's why. Don't let them get away with it. That's what it
It's
is.
like gunplay, the skyboxes, the feel. It still has an addictive quality that people still play. But the key to them now is these numbers are going down, engagement. So now you gotta listen, you gotta bend the knee, you gotta change things up, and I want to see how they adjust.
Yeah, no, I mean, you keep seeing the number stuff, and again, it's not the lowest it's ever been, but it is a very low part of the season. Community event will be a blip, but not much for people to log in. Okay, I'll get a few coins. I did my part. I'm out. And then you got a couple weeks until the season actually drops. And, you know, people will go hard at the start of the season. We'll still probably get our weekly episode. I just hope the episodes have a little more on them each time. Like the episode, they were like She-Hulk episodes, and I wanted like Captain America episodes. Like 26 minutes, like you barely get. It's almost like a Big Bang Theory. Too many commercials. You got like 18 minutes of an episode when you watch the Blu-ray. Give me at least like 30 minutes, something like that. So.
My man Sarko, I like Sarko. He said Bungie has mastered the abuser role in a fiscally abusive relationship.
That is a whole lot to. It's a lot to unpack there, sir. That is a lot to unpack.
Sarko and Seth are hot tonight. Like they going in tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, Seth is definitely.
He got bars. He's not happy.
He is not happy. Oh, show. I wanted to get you guys a quick take on Game Awards. So I know Destiny 2 actually did get nominated for ongoing game and community support. So we got a couple of them there. Nice to actually see that was done. Big one is kind of
get nominated every year, never win.
Yeah,
always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Do you guys think they have a shot this year or not? Because ongoing, they're going. Yeah, I was gonna say, who knows? But ongoing, you've got Apex, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin. That's a lot of people to basically
Those all deserve it over Destiny, unfortunately.
And then best community support, No Man's Sky, Fortnite, Final Fantasy 14, and Apex. Pretty similar, except No Man's Sky versus Genshin.
Probably Final Fantasy 14. I feel like they're pretty good to their players.
Yeah. I was like, nice to see the nod, but I wanted to ask you
guys.
They
won last year, though, actually. They won last year, so maybe not this year.
Yeah, they'll mix it up. But I wanted to ask you guys where, or do you guys want to do this as a little bonus episode? I was going to ask you kind of your top episode.
Game Awards stuff?
Well, you're like your top games of kind of the year, where you think you might be falling on some of those things. So
excited for the bonus.
Okay. But we can record it live since you guys are here if you want to knock that out. Doesn't have to be long or anything. All right. Well, for this episode, number 224, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you guys in chat. Hi, Guy Travis on Twitter and IGN. You guys know where to find him. LordCognito, Iron Lords Podcast, Last Stand Media. Go find support, love all of those things. Ebontis.
Please.
Yeah, that Josh Sawyer interview.
Yeah, we just put it out. It's free. It's on free feeds.
Yep.
Shout out to Colin. So yeah, just if y'all can check that out, that'd be greatly appreciated. One of our fun episodes. So salute.
Yeah. So for this episode, it has been the last word.
The last word.